Hi. So I'm very glad to be part of this webinar. So I would like to briefly say a few things about the Palestinian prisoners, captives, right, in the hands of the Israelis. So I think many of us in the last couple of weeks have been reading about this Detainees camp where a lot of Palestinians who were captured in Gaza are held. There have been at least 36 deaths of Palestinians there that we know of, plus several more in other locations, all um, under the either under interrogation or during transfer or um, in other camps. So we have about 48 cases. We already read about some of the conditions, the appalling conditions in which Palestinian prisoners are being held, the kind of torture, which is physical torture, psychological torture, and sexual abuse that Palestinian prisoners are going through. But what I want to add is that I have a few friends who are human rights and civil rights lawyers in Israel, right? Israeli lawyers whose clients are Palestinian political prisoners. And those clients are Palestinians who have been languishing in Israeli jails for many years, some for 20 years. Some of them, um, I mean, all of them have nothing to do with Hamas, have nothing to do with October 7th. And what I was specifically kind of asked to talk about is that the kind of conditions that are imposed on the post-October 7th prisoners, right, under the, excuse that these are Hamas fighters actually are also imposed on all Palestinian political prisoners. So my friend, the lawyer, specifically interviewed some of his clients. Again, those are people who have been in the Israeli detention centers for many years, and he counted the number of calories that they're allowed to eat in a day. They subsist in April when he asked them on 830 calories. So grown men subsist on 830 calories a day. So for instance, a couple of cucumbers that are cut and then divided between 11 people 3 times a day. One egg, 4 potatoes for 11 people. Now, he also wanted to shed some light on the conditions of this detention. Again, these are people who have been in Israeli prisons for many years. All of their personal belongings were taken away from them and tossed, including, family photos and all of that. They are crammed, at least 11 in a small cell. Some of them have beds, some of them don't. They're allowed 2 pairs of pants a day, but no laundry. Some of them are allowed to have underwear, some of them don't. It's extremely hot. There is no any kind of fan or anything like that. There is no cold water, only warm tap water. And there is light, electricity in the room only twice a day. And of course, there are no family visits for the past 8 months. And so the kind of conditions and torture, physical and psychological, is something that is shared, right, by virtually all Palestinians in Israeli prisons, regardless of where they were capture, the circumstances of their capture, the kind of accusations that Israel has against them. And only yesterday we saw pictures of the wonderful popular leader Bassem Tamimi from Nabi Saleh, who was released from Israeli prison after 8 months of administrative detention, which means no charges, right? And he lost dozens and dozens of kilograms. And he is obviously, he suffers from malnutrition. He suffers from different kind of diseases. I mean, you can see the pictures online. And so obviously the treatment of Palestinian political prisoners, of whom we have about probably 9,000, amount, of course, to a war crime, crime against humanity. This is the kind of thing that should be pursued, right? In the International Criminal Court as well, and should be talked about. So it's not just Gaza, it's not just the Palestinians captured in Gaza, it's all Palestinian political prisoners who are currently in Israeli hands.